Welcome back from the break. You're watching NewsX and I'm Asavri Jindal. We have some breaking news coming in from Assam, where the flood situation in Assam's Morigaon district continues to remain grim as 101 villages of the district are affected in the deluge. The visuals there on your screens explaining the situation on the ground in Morigaon, which is one of the districts that's the worst hit in Assam. And when we talk about Assam as well, it is one of the worst hit states in the northeast. My colleague Arzu is with us on the broadcast to give us more on this. Arzu, we're learning at this point of time that 101 villages in Morigaon have been impacted, have been affected due to the ongoing flooding. What more can you tell us?
Well, definitely, Simran, the flood situation in Assam's Morigaon district is indeed grim, with 101 villages affected by the deluge. Also, the flood has affected the livelihood of a lot of people. Over 6.33 lakh people across 21 districts in Assam have been impacted by the flood, with Morigaon being one of the severely affected districts. Thousands of people have been displaced, with many taking shelter in relief camp. In fact, over 2.57 lakh people are currently settling in 511 relief camps and distribution centers across the flood-hit areas. In fact, army are on their toes to help all those affected, providing them medical, food, and all the help to overcome with this flood loss. Also, the flood have taken a toll on livestock and farming. With a lot of domestic animals, in fact, impacted. The crop has been destroyed. The teams of NDRF, SDRF, fire, emergency service, civil defense, and trained volunteers are conducting rescue and relief operations. Also, a lot of people have been rescued, but still there is a concern because still there has been a red alert that has been issued for Assam for more rainfall in the coming 3 days.
Absolutely. Arzu, stay on with us. We have some more breaking news coming in at this point of time, where 14 people have passed away due to floods and 5 due to landslides in Assam till today. According to the state government, search and rescue operations continue in Morigaon area of Assam, helping survivors and individuals who are stuck. Arzu on the telecast with me. Arzu, of course, now we're understanding that the death toll at this point of time in Assam is 14. What more can you tell us at this point of time, and also give us an understanding on the family members of these individuals who've passed away? What's being done to take care of them, to extend a hand of support to them?
Who are affected from the flood in Assam has been taken to the relief camps, and all the help has been provided. And also, if we see, now that the 14 people have died due to floods and 5 due to landslide in Assam till today. This is what the data has come, and also the Assam flood situation is grim, with 14 people died due to flood, and now the total death toll has reached to 19. Over 19 people have died, and over 6.7 lakh people in 21 districts have been impacted. With a lot of districts have been the worst hit areas, affecting more than 2 lakh people, and more than 41,000 people have taken shelter in relief camps, while district administration authorities provide food and essentials to those who are living in the relief camps. And nearly 15,000 hectares of agricultural land are submerged, potentially impacting crop production and farmers' livelihood. So this is also one of the attacks that these farmers are in fact facing. Their road, bridges, other infrastructures have been damaged, disrupting transportation and access to the affected areas. Major rivers like Brahmaputra and others flowing above the danger mark, causing new area to become inundated. So the Assam State Disaster Management Authorities and government officials are working to provide relief and assistance to those affected. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and in fact Home Minister Amit Shah has assured support from the central government. Chief Minister Hemant Biswa Sharma has visited flood affected areas to assess the situation and oversee the relief efforts. So from all the authorities, whether it's the central government or the state government together, ensuring that all the help reaches to the people who are affected from the flood, but still the concerns remains the same, as there are expected more rainfall in the Assam in the coming days. Yes, Asavri.
Okay, all right. Arzu, thank you so much for joining us, sharing all those details. Meanwhile, more breaking news coming in, where soon after the UNSC announced Pakistan's chairmanship for the 1983 Taliban Sanctions Committee and the 1373 Counter-Terrorism Committee. Congress spokesperson Pawan Khera has taken a jibe at the global community, taking on social media platform X. Khera wrote, IMF gave 1 billion to Pakistan on May 9th during Operation Sindoor. Number 2, World Bank decides to give 40 billion to Pakistan soon after Operation Sindoor. 3, ADB gave $800 million to Pakistan on June 3rd, soon after Operation Sindoor, and on June 4th, Pakistan gets elected as chairman of UNSC Taliban Sanctions Committee and vice chairman of the UNSC Counter-Terrorism Committee. How can the global community allow this continuous legitimization of sponsorship of terrorism by Pakistan is the question that he has ended with. My colleague Anand is with us on the broadcast to give us more on this. Anand, of course, Pawan Khera has now put out multiple points of flag, starting with the loan that was given out by the IMF, the $1 billion that was given to Pakistan up until now. What more can you tell us?
Sorry, look, the way in which Congress and Pawan Khera, who is also the CWC member of the party, the highest decision-making body of the Congress, so he clearly lamented at the government that how that and this is the point that the Congress has been making for long, ever since India was unable to get any of the countries standing by its side after Pahalgam terror attack. And then he cited several of the examples. He mentioned that how IMF gave loans to Pakistan, then World Bank also decides to give a heavy loan to Pakistan. ADB also coming out in support of Pakistan by showing loan to it. So clearly, he targeted the government over here and the world leaders that how Pakistan gets elected as chairman of the UNSC Taliban Sanctions Committee and also as vice chairman of the UNSC Counter-Terrorism Committee. So these are the clear examples that he cited, and he said that how can the global community allow the continuous legitimization of a sponsorship of terrorism by Pakistan. And this is not the first time, Asawri, that the Congress has been pointing at how our policy has failed, as several of the Congress leaders, including Jairam Ramesh, Rahul Gandhi, and Congress President Morigaon on several occasions, they have highlighted the same for targeting the government, that how none of the other countries had come out in support of India following the Pahalgam terror attack,
Right.
Whereas after the Pulwama,
Absolutely. Anand, thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast, sharing all those details. We're going to leave it there and shift our focus to the top story of the hour, where a massive crowd that gathered to celebrate Royal Challengers Bengaluru's first Indian Premier League title turned tragic on Wednesday evening after a stampede near M. Chinnaswamy Stadium killed 11 people and injured 30 others. According to authorities, most of those who died were young people, both men and women, and several among them were students. According to authorities, most of those who died were, as I said, young people. They were there was enthusiasm, and as we can see, this celebration turned fatal. Siddaramaiah has said that the tragedy resulted from poor coordination and overwhelming turnout. Police said around 50,000 people had gathered within a 1 kilometer radius of the stadium, and many tried to push through gates or climb over barriers. Several photos and videos from the incident site show fans pushing and shoving each other. Multiple pictures show RCB supporters trying to scale walls and climb over gates to secure entry. Among the other reasons, there was confusion over plans, as the Bengaluru traffic police announced in the morning that there would be no victory parade, only a celebration inside the stadium. However, at 3:14 p.m., the RCB management posted on social media that a parade would indeed be held at 5 p.m. followed by the stadium celebrations. They also announced limited free passes online. This mixed messaging confused fans, many of whom showed up at the stadium without tickets or hoping to get passes. Meanwhile, let's take a look at the timeline of the stampede. What exactly happened We of course know that there was a bit of confusion as far as the ticketing was concerned, as far as there being a victory parade. No victory parade was concerned, but let's take you through the stampede that took place starting with June 4th, 2 p.m., where thousands of people started arriving at the M. Chinnaswamy Stadium. This was roughly 3 hours before any sort of celebration was to take place. At 3 p.m., 1 hour later, shortly after entry is allowed, nearly all seats in the stadium were filled. So, in a span of 1 hour, all the 35,000 to 40 seats were completely filled. Around 3 p.m. is when the situation unfolded. Gates of the stadium filled to the capacity were shut. So, gates were shut at around 3 p.m. after all the seats were filled. And at around 3:30 p.m., 3 gates saw a huge crash among as people tried to enter the stadiums, the moving forward, the crossing the barricades, so on and so forth. 1 lakh people assembled at Vidhan Sauda on Dr. Ambedkar Road. This happened at around 4:30 p.m. is when there was a lot of crowding that was seen. 1 lakh people there. 5:30 p.m. teams head to the stadium, reaching around 6:10 p.m. So again, that's exactly what transpired at 5:30 p.m. Over the next 2 hours, reports emerged of casualties. Ambulances rushed to the scene, and as you can see, many people over there, making it extremely difficult for the ambulances to move past, to get those who've been injured, who unfortunately lost their lives. That's exactly what transpired in a span of roughly 3.5 hours. How things unfolded, a lot of it, of course, with the number of people that were over there. We're going to take this conversation forward with the guests who are joining us this morning. Mr. Shekhar Vijayan, sports journalist and commentator, joins us this morning, as well as Mr. Sanjay Sai, former IPS, also with us. A very good morning to you, and thank you so much for taking out time and speaking to us on NewsX. Let me start this conversation with Mr. Vijayan. And sir, I just want to understand from you, now that roughly 15 hours have passed since this tragedy unfolded, what do you make of the situation? Do you think there was a lack of, improper, of course, putting together things, whether it's got to do with the police who was deployed, or just in general, how things were managed? What do you make of it?
Thank you for having me over. I think first thing is, this entire situation, the way it unfolded yesterday, from the high of RCB winning this tournament after 18 long years to the situation which happened yesterday, was really tragic, very dastardly, and it shows a complete lack of ineffective management by the government, by RCB also, I would say, and by the various stakeholders involved. The fact that all this happened in the space of a few hours just goes to show there was no preparation, there was no proactiveness, there was no team in play. Obviously, conflicting information given by RCB, given by the politicians. Even the statements made were so insensitive. It just showed a lack of sensitivity here. The fact that human lives were lost, and as we talk, there are we talk about people in the hospital who are still struggling for their lives, and the fact that the stadium has a capacity of 35,000 people. And outside, you've got 3 lakh people standing outside, waiting to get in. So it's quite logical. You will always have a stampede. Now, are we prepared for this? No. The fact that there were people in the stadium, the fact that the show was still going on in the stadium, the fact that the show happened in Vidhan Sauda, even though everybody was aware of it, shows that this shows a total lack of apathy, total lack of proactiveness. There is no preparation here. There is no proactiveness here. There is no. We don't have a backup plan in place. When something like this happens in Bengaluru, we just don't know what to do. This is not the first time it's happened. This happened in the past. I've been on your shows in number of times. We have spoken about this. I think for a place like Bangalore, which we call the intellectual capital of the world, where there is so much happening in terms of technology, the only thing it's not possible for us to plan this in a better way in the future. Lives have been lost, and you cannot bring back those lives. If you look at the images is not about the trophy. Image is not about RCB picking up the trophy and kissing it. The image is of a mother crying, which is the daughter or child, who's dead. A 5-year-old girl passed away yesterday. There were so many drastic images, which just leaves a lump in your throat that Why do we deserve this? You give so much of love to a team, you give 18 long years to a team, and it just shows that, the show must go on. And, the fact that nobody's willing to take accountability for this. Every political party is trying to put the blame on others, right? There is no accountability. Heads, I don't know whether it will roll or not. But the fact is, this time, people have to come out in strong numbers. We have to speak about this, because there needs to be accountability. There needs to be responsibility. Lives have been lost. If the same thing would have happened to a minister's son or daughter or any VIP, things would have been different. We're talking about the common man here, which is you and me. So does the common man really have a voice here or not? I don't think so. But can we fight for this? Yes. Can we talk about this? Yes. And I think that's really important. I think we need to be prepared. We need to have a disaster recovery plan in place. There needs to be clear information. I don't know whether there were any guides, whether there was any information just sent out by RCB. We know for a fact that there was conflicting information sent out. So many WhatsApp groups had a complete meltdown because there was so much information coming in, and everybody wanted to go to the stadium and greet the cricketing superstars, because 18 long years, RCB's won it after all, which goes without saying. But the entire sheen of winning RCB winning this has gone down completely. We're talking about death. We're talking about something which could have been handled better.
Yeah.
And that too coming from a place like Bangalore, which is so tech savvy, where everything happens as per a plan. But, I think somewhere the administration, the government, the different stakeholders involved did not take accountability for it. And I think heads should roll here. We really need to take them to task for this. They should not be left. They should be left to dry. I think that's important.
Absolutely, sir. Requesting you to stay on with us. Mr. Saha is also with us on the broadcast. Sir, I just want to understand from you, when we talk about the Chinnaswamy Stadium, as per our sources at gate number 7, which is completely to the other side of where the crowd was, to be able to manage that crowd both inside the stadium and outside the stadium, 5,000 police personnel, is that enough to take care of a crowd that is approximately 2.5 to 3 lakh?
I don't know whether 5,000 people will be enough for 3 lakh people, and what is the methodology and what is the calculation behind it. I will start with the basic points, and I have been to a large number of channels since yesterday evening. First and foremost is nobody knows what was happening. So that's point number one. Nobody knows what was happening. Every single stakeholder, inclusive of the government, wanted to extract the maximum pound of flesh out of the RCB victory. So this is the way the whole thing unfolded. And the speaker before me, he was talking about technology in Bangalore. Government and technology are on two different sides of the spectrum. That is an area which is enabled by AI-enabled cameras. How and why and what happened to that is a different story. So government and tech, let me repeat, and I can keep repeating, are two different sides of the spectrum. This whole thing about 18 years and frenzy and all that, I don't buy this argument, because somehow we are trying to explain because of 18 years and that frenzy, and there was a political spokesperson last evening talking about that we can manage crowds, but we cannot manage madness. Frenzy or whatever it might be, the job of the police and the government is to provide security, failing which it is they who should face the music. Now coming back to the stadium issue, we are talking about gate number 7 and the crowd inside. 5,000 people, 5,000 policemen, what is their level of competence, whether they have any training in crowd control, whether there is any plan which is put in place. The Chief Minister straight away said that that was a private function, which means literally there was no plan in place. And if there is a plan in place, we should get what is that particular plan. So this 5,000 and 2 lakhs and 3 lakhs, till today this approximation of crowd also nobody knows. Between 2 lakhs and 3 lakhs, I think there is a gap of 1 lakh person. The issue is when the crowd started gathering, anyway nobody was interested in knowing what was happening, and Vidal Sauda was main focus, and selfies and photo ops and political mileage, whatever it might be. When the crowd started gathering, 3 lakh people don't come down from the skies. And there are elaborate systems by which you control the crowd. When the crowd comes there right on the gate and you have already 35,000, 40,000 people inside and they are trying to crash, what can you do? You become a literal bystander. And 5,000 people for 3 lakh is not the issue. At gate number 7, how many? 20, 30, 40 policemen. How many were there? I have no idea. The visuals show that the people were totally out of control. They are on trees, they are on fences, they are on poles, they are literally anywhere and everywhere. With no ambulances in place, literally nothing in place. So it was a free for all sort of a scenario where the whole blame is now pinned down upon the crowds itself. Whether it is a digital arrest or there is a stampede, the government absolves itself of any responsibility whatsoever. Crowd management, let me repeat, I've repeated all throughout last year, is an art, a skill, and an expertise which very few people, police personnel know, and it is least found in practice. And when there is an urgent situation of this nature, if the government has agreed that they will provide the nature of security which is required, 10 hours, 12 hours first is not sufficient time. Second, if you really want to put your best foot forward and show it that that particular day only we had a victory celebration, then you need to get experts like your rapid action force from outside, plan it, pull the whole resources there where the problem is likely to arise and not at Vidhan Sada. So I think there are gaping holes all throughout the place. Until today or this morning, we have not heard literally anything from either the police establishment or the bureaucratic establishment, and politicians are doing what best they can do. One place you are talking, it is uncontrollable. One spokesman says it is madness. The chief minister says that we did not give permission, and nothing could have been done in a situation of this nature. So I think the skill of crowd management and accountability we have lost. Police has handed over the whole decision making to the politicians. It is their prerogative, and finally we'll land in a situation like this. End of the day, people have to pay and nobody is bothered. Even at the hospitals, you are providing the facility, but what is happening? Politicians go and come. And from today, I don't think there will be any succor to the people or the kith and kin of the people who have lost their lives and people who are suffering of this injury. So broadly, this is where I find total lack of, first is involvement, and second, the stakeholders are not on the same page. Thirdly, there is no planning. Fourthly, this IPL chairman says that he has nothing to do. Rajiv Shukla says he has nothing to do. I don't know what they have. And two things I find very, very crazy. One is whether it was a private event or whatever event it was. The whole country knew of it. And the police and the government, not the police, but the government says it is a private event. What it means and what the connotation is, I am not aware of. So that's point number one on the side of the government. Security anyway is a state subject. It will come, it will fall on their feet only. So that's point number one. Point number two is IPL chairman, BCCI, whatever post he is holding, Mr. Rajiv Shukla, and all his establishment all throughout this. RCB has also given some press statement. So they are also absolving themselves of the responsibility. So end of the day, what is it? A monster created by Lalit Modi has finally created something of a crash commercialization on a hysteria, which literally means nothing for any city. All these people don't belong to Bangalore. It is running on an auction business. And then leaving the crowds after creating the frenzy, literally hacking their mind, creating the frenzy, leading to a situation where kids are getting killed. And finally registering a case which is of unnatural death, not even of criminal negligence.
Right, so absolutely. I'm going to rope in Mr. Vijayan into the telecast. Sir, private event, public event, victory parade, no victory parade, tickets available, no tickets available. Do you think the fate of this event was then left to God? Because the kind of statements that were issued by the Chief Minister of Karnataka was that we did not expect this kind of a footfall. That was the statement that was issued. The DK Shivakumar's first statement right after casualties were being reported was heartiest congratulations to the RCB. What does that say about the leadership in Karnataka? Was the fate of this event that was supposed to be a celebration then left to God? What do you make of it?
These statements are very, very insensitive. The fact that he was congratulating the RCB team instead of talking about the victims who had passed away speaks a lot about the leadership. The second thing is conflicting statements. At different timelines, like I mentioned earlier in the show, different timelines were there. At different timelines, different messages. The fans got confused. Everyone got confused as to when the team is really arriving in. The third thing here is, I feel the political parties especially in Karnataka, they were trying to take political mileage out of this. That's why they took the team to Vidhan Sauda. They had a photo op with them and everything happened. During that point of time, the Stampede happened. Still, they could have stopped the show. They didn't do it. They still went from there to Chinnaswamy Stadium. The third thing is Chinnaswamy Stadium, like I said earlier, has a capacity of 35,000 people. You've got 3 lakh people on the road outside Chinnaswamy Stadium. You've got a very small gate which reaches up to Chinnaswamy Stadium. There are 2 gates, one at the front, one at the back. And obviously you can, if you've seen the images, seen the videos, it goes without saying there was a huge frenzy there because and there was lathi charge happening because the crowd was uncontrollable, and it goes without saying they were uncontrollable because the cricketing superstars were inside. This entire episode, the way it's turned out, it's very inhuman. There's complete lack of accountability from all the stakeholders involved, be it BCCI, be it RCB, be it Karnataka state government, be it the people who manage the stadium, the security, be it the police force. Nobody wants to take responsibility for it. That yes, you know what, we made a mistake, we did something wrong here. People have lost their lives, and people are still struggling in the hospital. The ministers, the way they make the statement, it just shows a lack of remorse. It shows a lack of leadership. It shows a lack of gratitude. It shows a lack of sympathy, a lack of empathy. These are basic skills. You're talking about, the entire thing was a cricketing event, and they made it a political event. After making it a political event, they didn't want to take responsibility for it. They just wanted to come in there, get the selfies clicked with the cricketing superstars, make sure everything goes well. And while the Stampede was happening in the background, they knew about it. They didn't do anything about it. People passed away, and in their own terms, the show must go on. I think it's very sad. It's very gruesome. It's very horrific. We've all seen images of this. More than RCB winning the trophy, everybody has been seeing on social media images of people, in the Stampede, the frenzy there, the lathi charge. Everybody's seen it, not just in Bangalore, but across India, across the world, because RCB has fans across the world. So that entire victory, the sheen has gone off completely. And now we're talking about something which is so dastardly. The government could have been more proactive. The government could have, put a BCP plan in place. The government could have used technology well. I keep talking about technology because they do talk about technology in all the forums, and we know that the traffic police can do so much more. It's not that traffic is not a big problem in Bangalore. Everybody knows the place where Chinnaswamy Stadium is at a very vantage place in CBD, and there is going to be traffic there. There are going to be people there. They knew that at that point of time at 3:30, 3:45, there would be a lot of people there in this place. How come there was no planning involved? How come there was no proactiveness involved? How come you had more, policemen inside the stadium rather than outside the stadium? How come you had more more policemen at Vidhan Sauda rather than at the stadium? What's the reason for that? Are the VIPs more important? Are the common men not involved? Are the fans not important? The fans who stood by the team for 18 years not important at all? This is actually a slap on the face on the fans because now they know where they really stand. You have people who have died. You've got small girls who passed away, who died yesterday. It was so sad to see that. The parents crying. Who's going to tell them this? They came to watch their cricketing superstars and they go back like this. It's just not done. There needs to be accountability. There needs to be responsibility. There needs to be a plan in place. This cannot keep happening again and again. And we cannot keep blaming the crowd and saying the crowd is not educated. I don't think there's any problem with the crowd. I think the problem here is with the management. The problem here is with the lack of proactiveness. The problem here is lack of leadership. And there is no spine in the leadership. They're not able to take responsibility for it. They just want to shift the blame on each other, irrespective of any political party. And here, they just want to take political mileage out of it. Be it BCCI, be it any of the, be it the state government, be it RCB, be it, somebody has to take responsibility and say, this went wrong and we're really sorry for it. Even the statements which are put out in public, it shows so much of lack of sensitivity. It's like a ChatGPT statement which has been used. It has to come from the heart. You've got to believe in what you say. And people do understand this. People are not fools. People who are watching this understand this. The true fans understand this. What they really need is love. They need affection. But I think what's also important is trust. You lose trust when things like this happen. And it's not that it's not possible. The government can do so much more. We are capable of so much more. We have held rock shows in the past. We have held so many events in the past. It's happened, safely across India. Why it's not happening in Bangalore? The answer lies here itself.
Right, absolutely. Before I take a break, I just want to take a quick question from Mr. Sahai. It's a straightforward question. Who should take accountability for how this celebration turned into a tragedy?
See, there is no question of who should take the accountability. The accountability is fixed by law. Security is a subject which police and the government, it comes to their doorstep and the buck stops there. Why the country's media, why all of us have been asking who will take the accountability? Accountability has to be fixed on them. Otherwise, they will never take accountability. So they will never be held accountable. The whole issue is that the cricketing superstars and the fans both have been held hostage yesterday. Both have been held hostage, I repeat, whether it is Virat Kohli or a small kid who had died. I think these people overpowered the whole show and dictated the show in the manner they wanted. And those cricketing superstars also, because of the awe of the government or whatever, and that 18 years they waited and there is a frenzy, so they also caved in, and it is not their responsibility to look into the which way the celebrations will happen. At the maximum, the superstars would come and talk something, and that is nearly all. So it is not that people were taken by surprise. The whole event and the whole movement of the fans and this thing was basically they were held hostage. That's point number one. Point number two, the show must go on. Show must not go on. The show has to stop. The show has to stop. After this incident, there will be no event which should be allowed to happen without on the ticket, on the place, on the location, in whichever manner they want to put in the mass media, that security is ensured. Security is ensured, failing which it is criminal negligence, it is something like an accident at the minimum. Otherwise, it can be taken as a murder case. Criminal negligence was there yesterday. There was dereliction of duty, the variety of things which were there. Ensuring security is their job, is nobody else's job. And if the whole establishment, and in this, we are not absolving the whole cricketing establishment of this country who knows how well to commercialize that game, and they have commercialized it to a level which is unimaginable. Correct. So that being the case, the gap between the government and the police and these cricketing agencies, I think this has to be somewhere put on a hard-coded page or law that this is the way you will interact, and this is the only way you interact with people, and this is the only way you interact with the world. These are man-made accidents, and this can only be called criminal and nothing else. And all the parties concerned, because they all have a stake in this, and they want to continue in this manner and not remain accountable as things go by, and they have been successful in doing that. They will find cover, they will have things by which they can fool the people, there can be inquiries, there can be a variety of things. We have seen from Kumbh, even before Kumbh, crowd management still remains a skill and a practice which nobody wants to learn, nobody wants to implement, and nobody wants to be held accountable for.
Right, absolutely. With that, I'd like to thank both our guests for joining us on the broadcast, sharing their thoughts on NewsX. On that note, we slip into a very short break. Thanks for watching.